A cherry is the fruit of many plants of the genus Prunus, and is a fleshy drupe. The cherry fruits of commerce usually are obtained from a limited number of species such as cultivars of the sweet cherry, Prunus avium. The name cherry also refers to the cherry tree, and is sometimes applied to almonds and visually similar flowering trees in the genus Prunus, as in ornamental cherry, cherry blossom, etc. Wild cherry may refer to any of the cherry species growing outside of cultivation, although Prunus avium is often referred to specifically by the name wild cherry in the British Isles. Botany. Many cherries are members of the subgenus Cereus, which is distinguished by having the flowers in small corymbs of several together, and by having smooth fruit with only a weak groove along one side, or no groove. The subgenus is native to the temperate regions of the Northern Hemisphere, with 2 species in America, 3 in Europe, and the remainder in Asia. Other cherry fruits are members of subgenus Padus. Cherry trees with low exposure to light tend to have a bigger leaf size so they can intercept all light possible. Cherry trees with higher exposure to light tend to have thicker leaves to concentrate light and have a higher photosynthetic capacity. Most eating cherries are derived from either Prunus avium, the sweet cherry, or from Prunus cereus, the sour cherry. History, etymology and antiquity. The indigenous range of the sweet cherry extends through most of Europe, Western Asia and parts of Northern Africa, and the fruit has been consumed throughout its range since prehistoric times. A cultivated cherry, as well as the apricot, is recorded as having been brought to Rome by Lucius Licinius Lucullus from northeastern Anatolia, also known as the Pontus region, in 72 BC. A form of cherry was introduced into England at Tenham, near Sittingbourne in Kent by order of Henry VIII, who had tasted them in Flanders. Cherry trees also provide food for the caterpillars of several Lepidoptera. The English word cherry, French cerise, Spanish cereza, and Turkish kiraz all derived from the Classical Greek through the Latin cerasum, which referred to the ancient Greek place name Cereus, today the city of Giresun in northern Turkey in the ancient Pontus region, from which the cherry was first exported to Europe. The ancient Greek word kappa epsilon rho alpha sigma omicron sigma cherry itself is thought to be derived from a pre-Greek Anatolian language. Cultivation. The cultivated forms are of the species sweet cherry, to which most cherry cultivars belong, and the sour cherry, which is used mainly for cooking. Both species originate in Europe and Western Asia. They do not cross-pollinate. Some other species, although having edible fruit, are not grown extensively for consumption, except in northern regions where the 2 main species will not grow. Irrigation, spraying, labor, and the propensity to damage from rain and hail make cherries relatively expensive. Nonetheless, demand is high for the fruit. In commercial production, cherries are harvested by using a mechanized shaker. Hand picking is also widely used to harvest the fruit to avoid damage to both fruit and trees. Common rootstocks include Mazard, Mahaleb, Colt, and Gisela series, a dwarfing rootstock that produces trees significantly smaller than others, only 8 to 10 feet tall. Sour cherries require no pollinizer, while few sweet varieties are self-fertile. Growing season. Like most temperate latitude trees, cherry seeds require exposure to cold to germinate. The pits are planted in the autumn and seedlings emerge in the spring. A cherry tree will take 3 to 4 years to produce its first crop of fruit, and 7 years to attain full maturity. Because of the cold weather requirement moment, none of the Prunus genus can grow in tropical climates. Cherries have a short growing season and can grow in most temperate latitudes. Cherries blossom in April and the peak season for cherries is in the summer. In southern Europe in June, in North America in June, in England in mid-July, and in South British Columbia in June to mid-August. In many parts of North America, they are among the first tree fruits to flower and ripen in mid-spring. In the southern hemisphere, cherries are usually at the peak in late December and are widely associated with Christmas. Cordia is an early variety which ripens during the beginning of December. Lapin's Peak ripens near the end of December, and Sweethearts finish slightly later. Pests and diseases. Generally, cherry trees are a difficult fruit tree to grow and keep alive. They do not tolerate wetness. In Europe, the first visible pest in the growing season soon after blossom usually is the black cherry aphid, which causes leaves at the tips of branches to curl, with the black fly colonies exuding a sticky secretion which promotes fungal growth on the leaves and fruit. At the fruiting stage in June, July, the cherry fruit fly lays its eggs in the immature fruit, whereafter its larvae feed on the cherry flesh and exit through a small hole, which in turn is the entry point for fungal infection of the cherry fruit after rainfall. In addition, cherry trees are susceptible to bacterial canker, cytospora canker, brown rot, root rot, crown rot, and to several viruses. Cultivars. The following cultivars have gained the Royal Horticultural Society's Award of Garden Merit. See Cherry Blossom and Prunus for ornamental trees. Commercial production. Middle East. Major commercial cherry orchards in West Asia are in Turkey, Iran, Uzbekistan, Lebanon, and Israel. Europe. Major commercial cherry orchards in Europe are in Italy, Spain and other Mediterranean regions, and to a smaller extent in the Baltic states and southern Scandinavia. In France since the 1920s, the first cherries of the season come in April-May from the region of Sayre, where the local producers send, as a tradition since 1932, the first crate of cherries to the French President of the Republic. North America. In the United States, most sweet cherries are grown in Washington, California, Oregon, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Important sweet cherry cultivars include Bing, Ulster, Rainier, Brooks, Tulare, King, and Sweetheart. In addition, the Lambert variety is grown on the eastern side of Flathead Lake in northwestern Montana. Both Oregon and Michigan provide light-colored Royal and cherries for the maraschino cherry process. Most sour cherries are grown in Michigan, followed by Utah, New York, and Washington. Sour cherries include Nanking and Evans's. Traverse City, Michigan claims to be the cherry capital of the world, hosting a national cherry festival and making the world's largest cherry pie. The specific region of northern Michigan known for tart cherry production is referred to as the Traverse Bay region. Native and non-native sweet cherries grow well in Canada's provinces of Ontario and British Columbia, where an annual cherry fiesta has been celebrated for 66 consecutive years in the Okanagan Valley town of Osoyoos. In addition to the Okanagan, other British Columbia cherry-growing regions of the Similkameen Valley and Kootenay Valley, all three regions together producing 5.5 million kilograms annually, are 60% of total Canadian output. Sweet cherry varieties in British Columbia include Rainier, Van, Chelan, Lapin, Sweetheart, Skeena, Staccato, Crystallina and Bing. Australia. In Australia, cherries are grown in all the states except for the Northern Territory. The major producing regions are located in the temperate areas within New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. Western Australia has limited production in the elevated parts in southwest of the state. Key production areas include Young Orange and Bathurst in New South Wales, Wandin, the Goulburn and Murray Valley areas in Victoria, the Adelaide Hills region in South Australia, and the Huon and Derwent valleys in Tasmania. Key commercial varieties in order of seasonality include Empress, Merchant, Supreme, Ron Seedling, Chelan, Ulster, Van, Bing, Stella, Nordwander, Lappenses, Simone, Regina, Cordia, and Sweetheart. New varieties are being introduced, including the late-season Staccato and early-season Sequoia. The Australian cherry breeding program is developing a series of new varieties which are under testing evaluation. The New South Wales town of Young is called the cherry capital of Australia and hosts the National Cherry Festival. Nutritional value. As raw fruit, sweet cherries provide little nutrient content per 100 grams serving. Dietary fiber and vitamin C are present in moderate content, while other vitamins and dietary minerals each supply less than 10% of the daily value per serving, respectively. Compared to sweet cherries, raw sour cherries contain slightly higher content per 100 grams of vitamin C and vitamin A. Other uses. The wood of some cherry species is especially esteemed for the manufacture of fine furniture. Species. The list below contains many Prunus species that bear the common name cherry, but they are not necessarily members of the subgenus Cerasus, or bear edible fruit. For a complete list of species, see Prunus. Some common names listed here have historically been used for more than one species, e.g. rock cherry is used as an alternative common name for both P. prostrata and P. mahaleb, and wild cherry is used for several species, Prunus A. petala French, and Amp. Sauve clove cherry. Prunus avium.The sweet cherry, wild cherry, Mazodon. Prunus campanulata maxim, Taiwan cherry, Formosan cherry, a bell-flowered cherry. Prunus canescens bois, grey leaf cherry. Prunus caroliniana Iton, Carolina laurel cherry, a laurel cherry. Prunus cerasoides D. Don, wild Himalayan cherry. Prunus cerasus L. sour cherry. Prunus systemico N. purple leaf sour cherry. Prunus cornutus tude, Himalayan bird cherry. Prunus cuthbertii small, cuthbert cherry. Prunus cyclamenico N. cyclamen cherry, a Chinese flowering cherry. Prunus dewicensis Seeley, Dorwood cherry. Prunus dealsiana ck schneid-tailed leaf cherry. Prunus emarginata WALP, Oregon cherry, a bitter cherry. Prunus eminens Beck German, Mittler Weichsel. Prunus fruticosa Paul, European dwarf cherry, Mongolian cherry, a steppe cherry. Prunus gondwana redda, Duke cherry. Prunus greyana maxim, Japanese bird cherry, a Graysbird cherry. Prunus humilis bunch, Chinese plum cherry, a humble bush cherry. Prunus illichifolia WALP, hollyleaf cherry, evergreen cherry, hollyleaf cherry or islet. Prunus incisor thub, Fuji cherry. Prunus jamasakura Siebold excroides, Japanese mountain cherry, a Japanese hill cherry. Prunus japonica thub, Korean cherry. Prunus laurocerasus L. cherry laurel. Prunus leonisag, Catalina Island cherry. Prunus mayaki RUPR, Manchurian cherry or Artichoke cherry. Prunus mahaleb, St. Lucie cherry, rock cherry, perfume cherry, a mahaleb cherry. Prunus maximovicha ERUPR, Miyama cherry, a Korean cherry. Prunus mumi, Chinese plum, a Japanese apricot. Prunus myrtifolia URB, West Indian cherry. Prunus nepalensis tude, Nepal bird cherry. Prunus nipponica massum, Takani cherry, peak cherry, a Japanese alpine cherry. Prunus occidentalis SW, Western cherry laurel. Prunus padicell, bird cherry, a European bird cherry. Prunus pennsylvanica LF, pin cherry, fire cherry, or wild red cherry. Prunus floridina griseb, Antilles cherry. Prunus prostrata label, mountain cherry, rock cherry, spreading cherry, a prostrate cherry. Prunus pseudoceresis lindell, Chinese sour cherry, a false cherry. Prunus pumila elsa cherry. Prunus rufa wall x hook f, Himalayan cherry. Prunus salicifolia cun, capulin, Singapore cherry, a tropic cherry. Prunus sargentii redda, Sargent's cherry. Prunus serotina ehrh, black cherry, wild cherry. Prunus cerula franch, paperbark cherry, birch bark cherry, a Tibetan cherry. Prunus cerulata lindell, Japanese cherry, hill cherry, oriental cherry, or East Asian cherry. Prunus speciosa ingram, Oshima cherry. Prunus orischmidt Hokkaido bird cherry. Prunus stipulacia maxim. Prunus subhertella miq, Higan cherry, a spring cherry. Prunus taximensis nagai, Takashima flowering cherry. Prunus tomentosa thub, Nanking cherry, Manchu cherry, Downy cherry, Shanghai cherry, Ando cherry, mountain cherry, Chinese dwarf cherry, Chinese bush cherry. Prunus vericandico N, Korean mountain cherry. Prunus virginiana L choke cherry. Prunus exierdoensis matsum, Yoshino cherry, a Tokyo cherry.